Hello everyone, welcome. My name's Charlie and today I'm playing 100 Days in Stardew Valley but completing the community center. Just doing the community center is kind of boring though, isn't it? Yeah, I thought so. That's why I'm doing remix bundles and I'm also not allowed to purchase anything from Joja or Pierre. Last time around, I was emotionally bullied by capitalism and I won't stand for it any longer. I'm gonna run up to the peak of the summit at the end of this and be greeted by Lewis's sweet, smiling baby angel face. This time, my name's Charlie. It's still Charlie. I'm living on the humble lentil farm and my favorite thing? Independence. Independency. Independence. Not only am I banned from purchasing items from both Joja and Pierre, but I really love making life hard for myself, so my other goals are going to be to beat Journey of the Prairie King, beat Junimo Cart, obtain the almighty Junimo plush, and get the living hat. Why, you may be asking? I'm opening my own farmer's market, baby! Alright, without further ado, let's jump right into it. The first day began like any other run with the collection of my parsnip seeds, but this time, these seeds were sacred. I couldn't purchase my own seeds from Pierre or Joja, so for a while, these will most likely be the only seed packets we ever lay eyes on. This doesn't mean we're totally seedless though. If I scythe all the fiber on my farm and collect the mixed seeds, I can plant those as well and get a chance of growing cauliflower, parsnips, or potatoes in the spring. After planting my parsnips and breaking a bunch of fiber on the farm, I ended up with 5 whole mixed seeds, which, you know, baby steps. But 5 seeds probably wouldn't be enough to grow all the things I needed for the bundle. Ooh, a hand axe. So I ventured out and began to harvest all the fiber in town and in the Cindersap forest and ended the day with a good amount of forageables and a grand total of 7 mixed seeds. Yeah, I only got 2 more. I don't want to talk about it. After watering my parsnips the next morning, I opened up my first piece of Pierre propaganda. This was also the first moment that I realized I couldn't get any backpack upgrades. Oh no. 3 mixed seeds later, I collected my fishing rod from Willie and then headed up to the lake to start getting fish for the community center bundle. Instead of selling the extra fish, I decided to toss them in a chest because Willie is one of my favorite villagers by far, but how sick would it be to sell fish at my farmer's market? I'm just saying. I continued fishing on day 3 and also found a trash get in the same exact trash can that I did in the first 100 days video, which kinda shocked me. Now, I know this is kind of a controversial opinion, but I'm tired of hiding, so I'm gonna say it. I don't care that you broke your elbow. Sorry, that was so bad, I couldn't resist. Elliot is the best bachelor, and that is the absolute truth. To prove it, I'm gonna marry him in this series, and no one can stop me. I ended the day by reaching level 2 foraging, and when I woke up, all my parsnips were ready to harvest, so I picked them and tossed them into a chest for safekeeping. Because it was the 5th day of spring, I'd also unlocked the community center, which meant that after speaking with the wizard, I'd be able to see which bundles I'd gotten. With the remix bundles, there's a chance for new bundles to appear or for certain items to be swapped out of the original ones. Some examples are the Sticky bundle, the Brewer's bundle, and the Master Fisher's bundle, which, by the way, if I get that one, I'll probably cry real tears. I wouldn't know which ones I'd gotten until the next day though, because I still needed to speak with the wizard to get this weird Junimo script translated. Another thing that opens on the 5th day of spring is the mines, so I spent the rest of the day trying to get down as many levels as possible. Early the next morning, I visited the wizard and immediately headed to check out the bundles. Alright, we've got a spring onion swap and the wild medicine bundle, which shouldn't be too bad. We can just ignore the hops and get the ferns in the secret woods in the summer, so yeah, overall, not the worst. Directly after, I grabbed my forageables I had stocked away and finished the spring foraging bundle, getting myself 30 spring seeds. I'm just so happy to get seeds, I don't even care what they are. This also meant I could check out the pantry and fishing bundles, and I ended up getting the fish farmer and brewer's bundles as well as the quality fish bundle, which, again, not too bad. It really could have been worse. Ultimately, I'm hoping to reach perfection in this file, so after planting my seeds and sleeping, I decided to start giving people some gifts because I'm planning ahead so future Charlie doesn't have to suffer. I'm gonna just give Jody this daffodil. Usually I think I give her pancakes, but I can't really make those right now, so no, don't eat it. Ah! You have got to be joking. Okay, that's fine. After spending the next day in the mines, I made it all the way to level 25 and got myself a wooden club. I never really used the thumpy weapons before, so I was excited to give him a try. Oh! On my way out the door the morning of day 10, I got a visit from Marnie who asked if I wanted to adopt this cat. Of course I said yes, because I think the best farmers markets are the ones where random cats walk around. I flip-flopped between a couple names, but ultimately ended up naming it Grass-Fed because I felt like it made my farm look better. That's a good buzzword. Everything on my farm is local, organic, all natural, open range, cruelty-free, grass-fed, product. Even me. With the help of my wooden club, I was making quick work of the mines, reaching level 51 by day 11 and picking up a ton of gemstones on the way down. Another crucially important element of this playthrough that I haven't yet discussed is the traveling merchant. Every Friday and Sunday, she rolls up to Pelican Town selling her smuggled goods, and with some luck on my side, it's entirely possible to purchase seeds as well as fruits and veggies to save for the seed maker. On my first visit, there wasn't anything too crazy, but I did decide to purchase this egg just because I'm a really big fan of buying eggs to incubate instead of purchasing chickens from Marnie. Not even in the interest of being anti-capitalist, I just really don't like Marnie or her unfair prices. By the morning of day 13, all my spring seeds had finished growing, so I harvested up all my forageables and then headed into town to face my most dreaded nemesis, the Egg Festival. Straight out of the gate, I realized that Pierre was the one running the stand during the festival, which meant I literally couldn't buy any strawberries. Didn't really think about that. It kinda shook me a little bit, but I had to stay strong in order to perform well during the hunt. At this point, I pretty much had my route down, so I wasn't even sweating it at all. Oh my god, I'm panicking. Oh my lord, there's an egg behind this bush? It's Jas? What? Okay. Well, I guess the real treasure is the friends we made along the way. Never mind, suck it everyone, I am the egg champion, let us go. Needless to say, I was not doing very well on the making friends with villagers side of things. I also got locked out of Caroline's room and just stood there for like 2 hours trying to give her a daffodil. When I visited the traveling cart though, I ended up getting meat for the brewing bundle, a lobster for the crab pot bundle, kale, and an artichoke. It was really quite the haul. I tossed the veggies into my turn into seeds later chest and then continued to venture down into the mines. Oh my god, have you ever seen this many soot sprites? There's like a whole family down here. I feel kinda bad. Just as I was starting to panic about the quality crop bundle, I got this malicious and oddly targeting advertisement from Pierre that made me very upset. Essentially, I had to get 5 gold potatoes, melons, pumpkins, and corn, and I was currently relying on the random chance I'd get potatoes from mixed seeds, as well as some subpar fertilizer I made out of tree sap. It was okay though, because it just so happened to be salmon berry season, and my brain loves picking berries so much. Can't get enough! After braving over 60 floors of the mines, I'd collected a good amount of geodes, so I crafted a cheeky little chest that I hid in the corner of Clint's shop and began to break them all open. Because I had no inventory space, I figured it'd be easier to just leave some of the stuff in the Clint chest and come back later to get it. I also happened to have a frozen tear, so I gave it to Sebastian, marking the first gift given that the person actually liked. And you know what? It made me feel so good that after getting to level 75 in the mines the next day, I gave him another one just to try and move past the Jody fiasco. Seriously, who doesn't like daffodils? It's a friggin' flower. And like a nice one, too. I gave Pam a daffodil for her birthday and she liked the daffodil. Pam has class. Jody has a problem. While I was in the mines that night, I ended up getting 3 bone swords within like a minute of each other, and because I couldn't afford an upgraded club, I decided to stick to the sword for the time being. I'd also collected enough hardwood in the mines to finish the construction bundle, getting myself a charcoal kiln that I'll likely never use, and unlocking the boiler room. One of the new bundles this time around was the Treasure Hunters bundle, which basically requires you to get all the different types of gems. I already had most of them though, so it wasn't really that big of a deal. The next day, I continued giving gifts and then headed back into the mines where I made it all the way to floor 85 and also got a couple mixed seeds. At this point, I decided that tackling the boiler room bundles to get the mine carts unlocked would probably be the best play. After harvesting my forageables on day 20, I donated all the gems I had to the community center and then headed into the early levels of the mines to get an earth crystal and a topaz. Once I tossed these into their respective bundles, I unlocked both the bulletin board and the vault, meaning that all the bundles had been opened and I hadn't gotten any of the painfully terrible ones, which was really cause to celebrate. It was also a big day for upgrades, and that night I reached level 2 farming, level 4 foraging, and level 5 combat, for which I chose the fighter profession. There wasn't much at the traveling merchant cart, which was kind of unfortunate, but after a little more grinding, I gathered up a solar essence and 10 bat wings to finish up the adventurer's bundle. This not only gave me a small magnet ring, which I already had, but also finished up the boiler room bundles. I was feeling pretty good having completed my first room, so I celebrated by continuing on in the mines. Also, this floor, floor 105, remember it. This will absolutely not be the last time you're seeing it. I don't think it's any surprise that I got nothing in the mines, but the Junimos did fix the minecarts overnight, which is always very cute. Oh, the flower dance! Oh, the flower dance. I hadn't really made any friends at this point, and it was a little upsetting, but I had a much bigger problem on my hands. Where is my hoe? What? How did I lose my hoe? I didn't even think that was possible. Yeah, I lost my hoe, and it was surprisingly upsetting for me, so I decided to spend the day fishing at the lake to try and get a gold star largemouth bass for the community center. While I was fishing, I also ended up getting a Neptune's glaive, which kind of freaked me out because that's exactly what I fished up in my last 100 days, so I decided to hit the road after that and go to bed. Okay, I have a bit of a confession to make. So I haven't purchased anything from Joja or Pierre, I'm doing good on that end, but in order to get perfection, which is ultimately the goal, I need to craft one of every recipe, and unfortunately, some of those recipes are impossible to get unless I get them from Pierre at festivals. This really is the essence of capitalism. I hope you're seeing the irony. I know. I can hear the boos, the Bronx cheers, they're screaming, but there's literally no way around this. So to counteract these tiny sins I'll be committing, I'm gonna sell Pierre some crops later and get that money back, which will mean nothing happened, right? The amount that I put into Pierre's will come back out of Pierre's and everything will be fine. It's a net zero. I was already feeling really down about having purchased the flower tub recipe, so you can imagine just how upset I felt when Elliot rejected my invitation to dance. And then, in turn, how more upset I was when Sebastian also rejected me. For Abigail! Why do they always put baby in the corner? I don't even like Clint anymore. Even though I've literally cosplayed as Clint, it made me like him less, so now the corner just feels lonelier than it did before. Why does nobody like me? Finding a saucy little mushroom cave the next day did lift my spirits, and once I'd collected the skull key, I'd almost forgotten about how mean the villagers were to me. Almost. Where is my home? As I went to sleep that night, I reached mining level 5 and went with the geologist profession because I'm always really greedy and I like to get multiple gems. It gives me a lot of dopamine that the villagers don't. After blazing through the last half of the mines, I'd collected a bunch more geodes, so I headed to Clint's the next day and cracked them all open. Oh, there's my hoe. I am big dumb. It rained for the next 2 days, meaning I didn't need to water my crops and I was free to do some fishing to try and complete the bundles. There, that seems like a woolly free zone. I managed to get myself an eel for the night fishing bundle as well as a bunch of extra fish that I could sell for money. I wanted to have enough money on hand at all times in case something really good popped up at the traveling cart, and it paid off because I got myself a little packet of garlic seeds the next day. I have quite the collection of seeds going. For the last day of spring, I spent all my time trying to fish up a golden tuna for the quality fish bundle, which did not go very well for me because you can't even fish tuna in the spring. So, shows how much I know. To start off the summer, I laid down my ancient fruit seed, my star fruit seed, and my 6 melon seeds, tossing some fertilizer over all of them for good measure because I swear to God if I don't get the quality crops I need for the bundle, I'm gonna lose my mind. It was such a nice day out that I decided to start catching some of the river fish, and I also got myself a creepy ancient doll. This meant that I could finish up the children's bundle, getting myself 3 juicy battery packs. I believe it also increases my friendship points with Vincent and Jas, which, I don't know, usually Jas says I'm gross and I smell like grass, but she only laughed in my face when I talked to her, so maybe that's a step up. By day 31, I'd already gotten all the summer forageables and grabbed my 30 summer seeds for planting. I'd also collected a good amount of seaweed and algae, so I decided to get started on the fish farming bundle, because I needed 15 roe, and that would take a little bit of time. I didn't want to leave that for the last minute. Another project that I knew was going to be time consuming was finding the living hat. However, I'd come up with a genius plan that I felt would definitely work. So step 1, murder every soot sprite to ever exist and get myself the burglar ring, which doubles the chance of drops. Step 2, return to those dark spooky rock levels that nobody likes and kill a bunch of the golems there. Besides farming fiber, one of the only other ways to get the living hat is as a mob drop from wilderness golems, so I was hoping with the burglar ring my chances might be a lot better. After watering my hodgepodge of crops, I checked in on my soot sprite progress and was very unhappy to see that I still needed to kill 340. Still though, 160 isn't too bad when I hadn't even begun farming them. It really didn't hurt to find insane levels like this one either. Like, how many dust sprites are here? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 15 dust sprites. That's over 2% of my goal sitting in one room. Look at them go. I purchased myself an eggplant that Friday and then returned to the mines to continue my soot sprite murdering, which was actually going pretty well. Just resetting the mines and returning to the floors instead of having to find the staircases is a much better move. To alleviate the guilt of wiping out entire soot sprite families, I spent all my time in between giving people gifts. My chili peppers had just started their harvest, so I was able to give Lewis and Shane loved gifts, which made things a lot easier. But you know, I always end up in the mines. Mining away. Mining all day. Ooh, a jade! Master Skywalker, there are too many of them. What are we going to do? After a final push over the next 2 days, I finally completed the Monster Slayer goal, but it was so early in the morning that the Adventurers Guild wasn't open. I decided to pay a visit to the Secret Woods because I needed 5 fiddlehead ferns for the Wild Medicine Bundle, and the easiest way to get them is by foraging in the woods during the summer. I didn't end up finding any though, so instead I tended to my crops and discovered something incredible. You can fill your watering can in the fish pond. Does that mean you're watering the crops with like fishy water? Actually, that's probably really good for them, realistically. I am only using fish water from now on. By the 9th day of summer, I'd caught the gold star largemouth bass I needed, but I still had to get the gold shad, tuna, and walleye to complete the bundle, so that would definitely take a little while. In the meantime, I picked up my new burglar ring and began the golem killing grind for the living hat. Real talk though, I don't think I've ever returned to these dark levels of the mine before, and I've played over 1,000 hours of this game. These floors just suck, and that is an absolute fact. The next morning, I was greeted by a lot of forageables to harvest, so I picked them all up and then headed back to the mines to continue the living hat grind. Wait a moment. I just had... hold on. Oh no. So, I've just made a bit of an important discovery. The golems on the dark levels of the cave are actually stone golems, and the ones I need to be killing are wilderness golems. So essentially, the only way I can get the living hat is by harvesting a bunch of fiber, or giving a strange bun to the shrine in the witch hut and activating hostile mobs on the farm. The problem with that is that in order to get the witch hut, I first need to finish the community center, and I highly doubt that will be happening by the end of the first year. Devastated by this realization, I began to tackle one of my other big goals for the run, beating Junimo Kart. Now, in my 200 days video of my JoJo run, I'd reached over 50,000 in endless mode, but I'd never actually played the progress mode before, which meant everything was pretty much foreign to me. Oh, okay, I've discovered that the slime is slimy. I repeat, the slime is slimy. I died a lot initially, but I was consistently getting to the Gem Sea Whale and Slump Stomp levels, and sometimes even making it as far as the abandoned ship. After a couple hours of playing Junimo Kart, I'd reached Gloshroom Grotto for the first time. And you know what? I was doing pretty well until I got absolutely screwed by one of those mushrooms that spews poisonous gas or whatever. Like, why? Why did it have to be placed there? This is the one. No, it isn't. This is the last one. It's this one, and then I'm done with these stupid friggin' mushrooms and these stupid friggin' Junimo. Oh my god, what just happened? What is this? No way. No way. I mean, I have 4 lives, so maybe it's doable. Let's not despair now. Oh no. It's so hard to pick a route! You have to do it so far ahead of time! That is quite enough for today. I'm going to bed. Stupid freaking mushrooms, and you jump, and then you die, and I hate it. I hate it so much. Day 39 was also the day of the Luau, so I offered up one of my beloved golden parsnips, and you know the drill, the governor said he hated it. Like, do you know how valuable that parsnip was to me, governor? I immediately got over my disappointment the next day when I rummaged through the town trash cans and got a tuna. Like a whole tuna. I needed that for the community center too, so I was absolutely ecstatic. On the morning of day 41, I picked my first melon harvest and ended up getting 2 gold star melons, which was a pretty good start. I didn't have any more melon seeds though, so I just had to plant my mixed seeds and pray for the best, really. The problem was, I was running dangerously low on mixed seeds, so I had to head back into the mines and continue farming all the fiber. While I was doing that, I killed one of those little soldier guys and I got 2 helmets. My head was feeling very naked too, so I decided to put one of them on, and I look so stupid. I look like Marvin the Martian, but you know, I was getting toward the halfway point and I was feeling sad and desperate. The one thing about using mixed seeds is that I had no idea what I was growing or how much of it, so it was really left to chance. A lot of my time that afternoon was spent catching ocean fish for the community center, and after purchasing all the recipes from Robin, I headed back to the mines. I don't think I even need to tell you that nothing happened. Like, I get diamonds sometimes, and that's cool, but I don't want diamonds. Something good, though, was that when I went to bed that night, I reached level 4 farming, getting myself the crafting recipe for the preserves jar. This opens the door not only to completing the fish farming bundle, but also to unprecedented financial power. No, I promise I'm limiting myself. I'm not gonna let myself grow another Jam City. On day 44, I suddenly remembered that I'd unlocked the mine carts. Yeah, remember on day 20 when I unlocked those? Hadn't used them once. I'm actually an idiot. I continued to find stupid amounts of diamonds while farming fiber, and oh, here's something notable. I zoomed out. Yeah, that's it. I thought it might help, but no, it really didn't do anything. I had 6 fish rows saved up, so all I really had to do now to complete the fish farming bundle was craft a preserves jar and turn all of it into aged roe. Because there wasn't much to do, I fished at the river for the afternoon and caught myself a gold shad, leaving only the tuna and walleye left to get for the quality fish bundle. One of my personal goals for this playthrough is to make a really nice farm. My farm for the last 100 days was pretty good, but I wanted to focus on trying to make a pretty design that also had a practical layout. This began with me laying down some paths, but I really wasn't happy with this type of wooden path. It just wasn't doing it for me. I thought that maybe if I put some fence gates or iron fences next to it, it might look a little better, but I just wasn't happy with it, so I left it alone for the time being and instead planted some oak trees along the back of the farmhouse. One of the things I wanted most for the farm design was to lean into the forest theme of the farm and keep everything looking really natural and pretty. I'd been hoping to get orange trees because they're my favorite kind of tree, but because I can't buy them from Pierre, it wasn't looking like an option for the time being. I'd pretty much done all I could in terms of decorations, so I headed into the mines to collect some copper because I really needed to make a furnace so I could get copper bars for tool upgrades. I don't know why, but it seems like copper is always the first thing I throw away when I'm going through the mines with my limited inventory, so I had actually none. Also, while looking for fiber to harvest the next morning, I discovered this little owl statue. I remember you guys freaked out last time saying this was a rare event, so I put the little guy up by the farmhouse. Kinda salt on the wound that an event with a less than 1% chance happens, but I can't find the living hat. It was an eggy kind of day at the traveling cart. I purchased a duck egg and another white egg with the intention of incubating them later on and kept working on the layout of the paths for the farm. I want a living hat. I want a living hat. I want my living hat. I want my living hat. I hate this. Some time had passed, so I figured there might be some fiddlehead ferns in the secret forest now, but I accidentally went on a Sunday, which, if you don't know, is when all the forage resets. I took a trip to the museum instead and donated the last dwarf scroll to unlock the Dwarvish translation guide, which meant that I could now purchase stuff from the dwarf. I wasn't 100% sure what stuff he sold, but unlocking any vendor I can actually buy from is a blessing at this point. After some more fun fiber hunting and diamond mining, I got a mega bomb drop from one of the mobs which I used to break into the dwarf cave. My old friend! Toxu Totten, my guy! Ooh! Wait, yes! This is my favorite flooring! Oh my gosh, okay, this is not a drill. It was a pretty good day. I bought the recipe for the weathered flooring, which was exactly what I'd been imagining for the farm. I got 12 mixed seeds and 3 more aged roe, which meant the materials for the fish bundle were coming along swimmingly. Fish. Okay, we're in the 7th inning stretch. Well, not really, but you know what I mean. At this point, I had not achieved a single goal, not one. The living hat was still very much dependent on luck and would probably have to be gotten once the witch hut is unlocked. I hadn't beaten Junimo Cart or Journey of the Prairie King. I didn't even have the magnifying glass, so I couldn't get the Junimo plush yet. We had made some headway on the bundles, but there was still a lot of work to do. I decided at this point that I would start to spend more time grinding for Junimo card and Prairie King, and then farm fiber and gather bundle materials in between. I crafted my first furnace on day 53, which is so sad, and tossed in a fire quartz to appease my rainbow trout. In terms of the crop bundles, I had a good amount of them. All I needed for the spring crops was a green bean, which I was hoping to get from the traveling cart or the night market in the winter. I also already had a squid ink in the fish farming bundle, so I just had to keep grinding for the aged roe, which... hold on. I just realized I didn't even have to age the roe. I could have just put the roe itself into the bundle. I wasted so much time. Oh my lord, I actually can't believe myself. After depositing all my crops in the community center, I hopped back into the secret woods and finally got the fiddlehead ferns that I needed for the wild medicine bundle. I was getting kinda worried honestly, but luckily I had just enough, so all I had to get now was 5 purple mushrooms, which wasn't even that bad. Although farming fiber in the mines was absolutely soul-sucking, I did end up finding a lot of diamonds. Enough to bring me up to $30,000, so I decided to purchase the $2,500 and $5,000 bundles, getting myself some quality fertilizer in the process. However, I knew that I had a lot of fishing to do for the fish bundles, so I invested in a fiberglass rod and some bait, which helped me to get the rest of the ocean fish as well as the golden tuna I needed. I'd also reached level 5 farming and chosen the tiller profession, making my crops worth 10% more, which is super handy because I don't sell any of my crops. By day 55, I'd had enough of the ugly wooden plank paths, so I got rid of them all and began to place down my fancy new weathered flooring. I personally thought it looked really nice. This is my favorite flooring by far. With my nifty new furnace, I could now also craft a tapper to get pine tar for the community center. These iron fences look so good, oh my gosh. Grass-fed, you are really in the way, bud. Day 56 was the last day of summer, so after placing down some more of my paths and remembering that the fruit cave existed, I said goodbye to my summer crops, watered them anyway, and then completed the wild medicine bundle using some purple mushrooms I found in the mines. This meant the only bundles left for this room were the winter and fall foraging, which would be super easy to get. I spent some quality time with Shane before heading to the Moonlight Jellies Festival, which was just as boring as it usually is. I did get kinda nervous somebody'd walk over my fishing chest, but nah, we good. And just like that, it was the first day of fall, my favorite season. It was also the day of my first ancient fruit harvest, which, oh my god, it was a gold star? I didn't even realize that at the time, wow. A bunch of my corn had finished as well, and I only needed 1 more gold star corn before I had the 5 necessary for the quality crop bundle. After ruthlessly murdering my wilted summer crops, I used my quality fertilizer and planted some of the mixed seeds I had in hopes of getting some gold star pumpkins as well. It had been a while since I'd given any gifts out, so I decided to spend the beginning of the day handing out forageables and gemstones before going into the mines for the rest of the night. I was getting a bunch of good stuff from farming floor 105, like void essence and diamonds, which sell for a lot, and also strange buns. I only needed 1 for the witch hut, but I had like 5 or 6 just chilling in a chest somewhere. On only the second day of fall, I'd gotten the last gold star corn I needed and also unlocked the job board, which was really good because there's a couple crafting recipes you can only get from completing quests from the board. Unfortunately, there weren't any good quests yet, so of course, I spent the night harvesting fiber. I also decided to purchase the $25,000 bundle, getting myself a crystallarium, which I immediately tossed a jade into. My plan was to collect a bunch of jade to trade for staircases so that when I go to Skull Caverns, I can just staircase all the way down and hopefully find more of the treasure floors. I'd also been trying to get a head start on befriending all the villagers for perfection, so I paid a visit to everyone in the pub that night and went to say hello to Sebastian as well. Our friendship was blossoming fast, mostly because I farmed the ice levels of the mines and got lots of frozen tears, and not because he actually likes me. In fact, I'm not sure he actually likes me at all based on our interactions. Hello, Sebastian. Hello? Oh, special rock, special rock. Yes, my first prismatic shard! It was a very good day. I got over 10 mixed seeds and a prismatic shard, which, I'm not a fool. I'm saving that thing to unlock the galaxy weapons. Good old Gunty Gunth can suck it. My good mood was soiled the next day, however. I'd been planning this day for a while. I was gonna give Elliot squid ink on his birthday, and he'd be like, wow, thank you, you're the best, Charlie. And I'd be like, yeah, no worries, Elliot, no man. And then we'd fall in love, and it'd be great. But it really had to go and rain on his birthday. You know what Elliot does when it rains? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. I couldn't even get in his house to say happy birthday. It was devastating. I decided to just fish instead, and it actually went really well. Not only did I catch 2 walleye, but one of them was golden, which meant that I'd finished the quality fish bundle and the night fishing bundle, getting myself a plate of seafood and a small glow ring, which was entirely useless because I don't even like seafood and I already had a full-sized one. I'd had a vision here for the farm where the path would lead to a nice outdoor storage system, but it got kinda ruined by the 50 million bushes on the forest farm. I decided to just do it anyway though, and spent the rest of the night and the next morning moving all the stuff into the new chests. I thought it looked pretty nice, and they were a lot more out of the way, so I wouldn't be constantly running into them. I realized on day 62 that my storage system wasn't aligned with my pathway, and it really spiritually bothered me, but I didn't have the energy to fix it, so I checked the traveling cart instead. I ended up getting some kale seeds and also giving gifts to Shane and Marnie. It also just so happened that I had reached 3 hearts with Marnie, meaning that I could now enter her room and steal Lewis's purple shorts. Of course, I was never gonna return them. Honestly, I wanted to have them on sale in my farmer's market to make Lewis sad. I thought it would be super funny. Hello, Penny. Here's a gift for you. And a hot pepper for Lewis. Wait, what? No. 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 If what I think is happening, it better not be. I didn't realize that interacting with Lewis would automatically finish the quest, so I lost Lewis's shorts, and I was honestly beside myself. Why? Why? What did I do to deserve why? This is the worst day of my life. I want to cry, actually. No, are you kidding me? This First the shorts, then I lost all my money and items. I hate this. I simply hate this. It's a good thing that the blackberry harvest started the next day because I feel like nothing could have possibly made me feel better besides collecting berries. It just makes my brain happy. I can't explain. I like berries. I was even feeling generous enough to give Jas one of the berries I'd collected. I was just in such a good mood. Is that an actual joke? You're a child. What kind of child doesn't like berries? I'm mad again. Instead of being a sad loser, I decided to handle my anger in a more productive fashion by playing Journey of the Prairie King for the first time. Yep, you heard me right. This footage you are now watching is the first time I'd ever played Journey of the Prairie King, yet I still made it a goal to beat this game. I'm a brave idiot. I'd heard before that you can cheese the first boss by standing on the edge of the barriers, but I don't think it works on the right side. Yeah, I actually got killed by the first boss, and it made me very sad. But it wasn't long before I made it back and beat him successfully. What is this? Oh wait, no, I didn't get the one up, no! These mushroom boys were so fast, it was actually legitimately stressful. After getting backed into a corner by them like 3 times, I decided that I was happy with my progress and that I'd return another day. Some more berry picking was definitely in order, and I even picked up Linus's berry basket because I'm a very good friend. I also grabbed all the fall forageables and completed the fall bundle, picking up my 30 fall seeds and planting them on my farm. I didn't have a lot of ore because I kept throwing them away in the mines, but I did have enough to make a couple sprinklers that would make keeping up with my crops a little easier. My anger had actually been kind of a good thing because I'd ended up picking like over 150 blackberries, completing 1 square for the foragers bundle. I still needed 20 of the wild plums though, and after searching around Pelican Town for a bit, I returned to the saloon ready to try Junimo Cart again. I actually kinda killed it in my first run and made it to the scary lava death track, which was very hoppy, but for the most part pretty manageable. It was really just the rocks that tripped me up honestly, but I managed to dodge them all and make it back to the Sunset Highway stage. Okay, you can do this, you can do this. I'm actually shaking, this stage scares me so bad. Oh my god. Oh my god. No, that was right into the pit! Okay, last chance. I'm at the point where this one's not too bad anymore. I kind of like it, honestly. What? Is the game glitched? Why did it just skip over a stage? I mean, I'm not complaining. It was a beautiful run, maybe the beautiful run. I skipped over an entire level and had a relatively easy pirate ship and a doable mushroom grotto, bringing me back to the Sunset Highway. Oh my god, the hops! I'm cracked! Oh, it's catching up to me. Yeah, I figured that was gonna happen, honestly. Well, not too bad, not too bad. That night, I reached level 6 farming, unlocking the recipe for the quality sprinkler, which was kind of an L honestly, because I had just crafted like 6 regular sprinklers. Why does this happen to me every time? Regardless, I harvested my first eggplant the next morning and also got 2 wild plums from the fruit bat cave, which was very helpful. Thank you, fruit cave. Now that I had the quality sprinkler recipe, I wanted to craft some of them so that I wouldn't have to spend so much time watering all my crops. I didn't have the iron I needed for them though, so I headed into the mines to collect some. Of course, I also made a stop to Fiber Town and got absolutely nothing. At the end of a long working day, I headed back to the saloon and booted up Junimo Cart once more, but today, it felt different. I realized that what had happened last time when I skipped a level wasn't actually a glitch. It was a feature of the game where if you complete the ice level in under 60 seconds, you get to go on this little secret route past level 3. Doing this made the run a lot easier because without fail, I would always get like 7 lives and then come out of the Gem Sea Whale level with all of them gone. This way though, I got to skip that level entirely. It was maybe my 3rd run of the day and I was cruising. I'd skipped the 3rd level, completed the abandoned ship flawlessly, and then tackled the lava level with 9 lives under my belt. Absolutely absurd. It was looking really good for me. I'm so scared. I'm so scared. This could be the one. I was absolutely killing the platforming in this run. It was like my eyes just glazed over and my brain went into autopilot. I was pre-routing all my jumps and landing every single one of them. I had never gotten this far before. I was right in front of the finish line, but really struggling with this one jump. I died there 2 or 3 times and it felt like all my chances of victory had flown out the window. I made it past the difficult jump, somehow didn't die on this barricade even though I 5000% should have, and with 0 lives left, I fell off the track and died. But right before my death, I had just reached 100 coins, granting me 1 extra life. I had 1 more chance. It was all or nothing. No! Yes! 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 I did it! No way! Oh my god, I beat Junimo Cart! Let's go! I had beaten Junimo Cart and reunited the stupid Junimo with all his little Junimo friends. It was such a dramatic ending too. I really did not think I made it. The amount of anger and dread that I felt, which got replaced by just unparalleled joy, it was insane. After tossing some copper bars in the furnace to prepare for my tool upgrades, I went to bed and got some much deserved sleep. When I checked my mail the next morning, it only got better. Pam had sent me a cheese cauliflower recipe. No, I'm stupid. I officially got my at-home Junimo Cart machine. Immediately, I placed the machine right here in front of the trees I'd planted. I thought it was a nice central location to show it off, but still out of the way enough. The amount of raw joy that I felt that day just can't be described. I didn't even know what to do with myself, so I headed to Clint's and upgraded my axe so I could chop the hardwood stumps on my farm. I also purchased some cranberries from the traveling merchant and completed the $10,000 bundle for the bus repair, finishing the vault. As I slept that night, the beautiful little Junimos repaired the bus, meaning that I now had access to Skull Caverns. This was a pretty big deal because there's a ton of great items you can get in the treasure rooms like saplings, pretty much any seed and starter you could ever want, and also seed makers, which I desperately needed. However, I was still working on crafting sprinklers for my crops, and I was also a bit tired of the mines because I'd been farming fiber so much, so I decided to take the rest of day 68 to just relax and do some fishing. The next morning was the first pumpkin harvest of the fall, and I really wanted to get the golden ones for the bundle so I could unlock the greenhouse faster. Unfortunately, I only got 4 silver pumpkins, which was a bit of an L, but you know, it is what it is. I really needed those golden pumpkins though, so I grabbed the singular sprinkler I could craft and stood there destroying all the mixed seeds that weren't pumpkins. It also happened to be a Sunday, so I purchased some poppy seeds and more kale seeds from the traveling merchant. After getting a good night's sleep, I finished all the aged roe I needed for the fish farmer bundle and tossed it into the community center. Excuse me? Excuse me? My copper axe had also finished upgrading, which meant I was now able to chop down the hardwood stumps on my farm. The forest farm actually has extra stumps, which I didn't really need hardwood for anything, but it was a good way to save up for the future. Maybe this time, nope. I also reached level 9 combat that night, unlocking the recipe for the Iridium Band. Usually I find one on like day 3, but I still hadn't. I was feeling a little nervous about it. Day 71 was the day of the Stardew fair, and I immediately noticed that Pierre wasn't the one manning the shop for this one. Mostly I had my eyes set on the star drop and also these 24 mixed seeds. Mixed seeds were very much a hot ticket item for me, so being able to buy them was super exciting. I always forget about this festival, so as usual, I didn't really have any good items to put in my grange. It's really mostly fish, that's kinda all I have, but for the first time, I realized there was stuff going on in the southern part of town. You can actually get your fortune read, which, like, of course I want my fortune read. It was really lame though. She basically just told me I'd give Lewis a birthday gift and that Penny and I would sit in a field of grass. Really novel stuff, definitely worth the $100. I only ended up getting second in the festival, so I headed right to the color wheel to gamble for the rest. Okay, unlucky. Come on, come on. No. Okay, what? How? This is all I have. That stupid little man took away everything I had, but after fishing over and over again, I purchased myself the star drop. I also purchased all the mixed seeds and the Ghibli rare crow, which I plopped down before heading to bed. My fall forageables had finished growing the next day, so I gathered up all my wild plums and finished up the foragers bundle, getting myself 3 free tappers that I sprinkled around the farm. I didn't really have any other plans for the day, so I decided to take my prismatic shard to the desert to get the galaxy sword. Now ultimately I wanted to get the galaxy hammer because I realized the hammers are kinda cool, but that was also like $70,000 or something, so the sword would have to do for now. While I was in the desert, I decided to hit up Skull Caverns to break in the old galaxy sword, and after almost dying, I stumbled upon a prehistoric floor. And I am telling you, I was praying that I didn't get a dino egg, because in every other world, I've had a stupid amount of dino egg luck. Things were going well, but I'm sad to report that I did indeed get a dino egg. And not just 1 dino egg, but 2. And not just 2 dino eggs, but also 2 rabbit's feet. I don't know how, I don't know why, I'm just really lucky when it comes to these drops and I don't understand it. The rabbit's feet were actually really good too, because I needed one for the Enchanter's bundle. I woke up in a generous mood on day 73, so I decided to head into town to hand out some gifts and also to upgrade my trash can. And I know you're probably thinking that's a waste of money, but because I can't upgrade my backpack, I honestly feel like it's a worthy investment. At least this way I can get some money from the items I can't pick up. Here you are, my good sir. Oh dear, a tiny crab appears to have made his home in my shirt pocket. Dude, what does that even mean? With every day that passed, I was getting more and more afraid that I wouldn't find the living hat, but still I pressed on, harvesting fiber into the wee hours of the night. I picked up a red cabbage seed from the traveling merchant and then decided to head to the mines, but on the way, I got distracted by a passing train. Of course, the train wouldn't give anything to me, they never do. Even if it did, I don't think I'd be allowed to keep it because the cars were literally Joja branded. But I did realize that there are some juicy patches of fiber in the spa area. By day 75, my copper trash can was ready, so I picked it up from Clint and then headed to Skull Caverns for the day, collecting a good amount of gems and geodes to store away. Grass-fed? Grass-fed. I'ma have to ask you to move. Thank you. The traveling merchant didn't have anything that crazy, but she did have a yam. I ultimately decided that I could probably get one from one of the Dougies in the mines, but I really should have just bought this yam. I don't know why I didn't. After giving Penny a gift, watching this piece of coral in its natural habitat, and telling Abigail to dye her hair blonde cause I thought it'd be ugly, I returned to the saloon. It seemed like with every game of Prairie King I played, I was getting better and better, and by this time I was consistently making it to the later stage levels. Still though, I just couldn't seem to get further than that, so I did some fiber harvesting instead to calm the nerves. I'm not sure if this is true, but I think I read somewhere that daily luck affects the chance of getting a living hat, and because the spirits were only feeling neutral, I decided to just head back to Skull Caverns. Please, 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 please! The next day though, the spirits were in a much better mood, so I returned to the regular mines to farm some fiber, and I got an Iridium bar drop from a Shadow Brute. Like, I know it isn't as rare, but that's a pretty rare drop. I don't see why I can't just get a living hat. I mean, come on now. Out of the kindness of my heart, I decided to give George a breakfast leak and got the Clicks achievement, which kind of made me laugh because my clique currently consists of an old man, the mayor of the town, and a guy that constantly says he hates me. Even though it was a good luck day, I felt in my heart that Skull Caverns was where I was supposed to be, which worked out because I got another dinosaur egg. Also, as you can see, this is where the trash can method really shines. These bones go for $15 each, and you get like 2 per dino, so in this time span alone I got myself about $100. And it's only gonna get better too as I upgrade my trash can. That night, I ended up getting to level 9 mining, unlocking the recipe for the crystallarium, and also level 10 combat, for which I chose the brute profession. I've said it once, I'll say it again, I don't understand how people find dino eggs so hard to get. I already have 3, which is much more than I need, so I decided to use them for an actually useful purpose. The plan was to make a mayonnaise machine, toss my dino egg in there, and then wait a heck ton of time until it finished, at which point I would extract the mayonnaise, run as fast as my little legs could take me to Emily's house, and do this. Cloth. Mayonnaise. Skadoosh. Sweet Jesus, they're beautiful. Oh my god, this is even better than I thought! Look at my little tail! I'm so cute! What do these pants have to do with the run, you may ask? Well, I mean, what's more anti-capitalist than a dinosaur? Actually, no, most things. Pretty much everything. I take that back completely. For the rest of the night, I just chopped down trees and continued to place paths on the farm. Got a pepper for Lewis. Pepper just for Lewis. Gonna give him the pepper. Wow, this is my favorite. Gus' secret spaghetti sauce. The ingredients may be secret, but the smell isn't? Who just says that to a person? What the actual nut does that mean? I decided to stay on my farm for a bit because the villagers were being creepy, and I continued to work on the path at the bottom of my farm. I pretty much finished it, but there isn't really much I could do about this log because I only have a copper axe, so that's just there now. I managed to get 3 gold quality pumpkins, but as you know, 3 is not 5, so unfortunately my day was full of disappointment. After grinding all day in the mines and getting absolutely nothing of value, I grabbed my golden pumpkin and then went to bed. However, I forgot that there were a couple more pumpkins I had left to harvest, and to my surprise, I got the 2 more gold star pumpkins I needed. I also ended up getting a catfish, a red cabbage seed, and a sturgeon from the traveling cart. I was just chuffed, so I immediately packed up all my stuff for the community center and finished up a couple of the bundles, completing all the fishy ones. I also sauced my golden pumpkins into the quality crops bundle, but unfortunately, because I didn't have enough melons or potatoes, I wouldn't be able to get the greenhouse this year. After clearing out a little space on the farm and realizing that I could cut these bushes down, which by the way, really good, 10 out of 10 tip, I bought myself a shed, and inside that shed, I'm going to start the veggie stand of my farmer's market. It's the beginning of something beautiful. On an unrelated note, the glittering boulder was also removed, which ultimately means nothing to me, but it seems like something I should probably say. Day 84 marked the first day of winter. Robin was hard at work, and also I finally acquired the magnifying glass. This was super important because in order to get the Junimo plush, I needed to first get the magnifying glass as well as the secret note that details its location. So basically, now I have 3 reasons to farm fiber: mixed seeds, living hat, and secret note hunting. Strap in! Of course, the ultimate goal of this farm is to build a massive, bustling farmer's market where I sell virtually every single item and put all other vendors out of business. But we're starting small, so that mostly means infrastructure and path building. I also still had to collect all the winter forageables for the community center, so I quickly nabbed some crystal fruit and a snow yam, and after a long expedition around the cindersap forest, I finally got the holly as well. With the donation of these winter forageables, I'd completed the crafts room, which meant I'd successfully finished 3 rooms in the community center. Now all I needed was a green bean, a bunch of brewed stuff, gold star crops, a tomato, and a blueberry, so... uh-oh. When I returned to the farm, I decided to put down some torches and fences to decorate a little bit now that the market was starting to come together. This is still entirely off-center. Oh my god, that's gonna bother me. That night, the bridge to the quarry was repaired, which doesn't do much for me, but still exciting. After 3 dedicated days of hunting for the hat with no luck, I was starting to think we'd have to unlock the witch hut and activate monsters on the farm instead. The chance of getting the living hat from fiber is only 0.001%, but getting it from the golems is 0.01%. Still low, but I mean, it's an improvement. The first thing I did on the morning of day 90 was center this path. It was making me spiritually uncomfortable. I also checked the traveling cart and ended up getting a tomato, which was so good. Now, all I really needed was a seed maker for the crops I had, but it's probably gonna be a while unless we get lucky in Skull Caverns. The day after was the day of the fishing festival, which I didn't really want to partake, but I did it just so the villagers would like me. I ended up winning, of course, but I just threw away most of the prizes and headed back to the mines for fiber hunting. In my notes for this day, I just wrote Yoshi? I have no idea what that means. After collecting my copper pickaxe from Clint, I headed back to the mines for more fiber hunting. I was getting really desperate at this point, and I actually found some good chunks of fiber, but no dice. What could I do to remedy this disappointment? You guessed it, more Prairie King! I still needed to beat the Prairie King, and I was getting pretty good. Now I was consistently making it to the 3rd stage rounds, but the thing is, if I don't have the 1st and 2nd bullet upgrade by this stage, I'm just done, because the mummies are so strong and will swarm around you if you don't kill them fast enough. I got really far that night, but unfortunately, instead of meeting Fector, I met my demise. The next string of days were a long, fibery blur. Just repeating the same mine floor over and over, checking the luck for the day and doing it all again. Sometimes the weeds wouldn't zip to my hotbar because I wasn't close enough, and those moments are the only time I ever felt anything. But there was one thing that kept me going, and that thing was the winter night market. There would be so many more seeds there that I otherwise wouldn't have access to, sold not by Pierre, but by this sketchy dude, and also a bunch of consecutive chances at the traveling merchant store, so I was really excited. This could be big. I also really wanted to hatch my dino egg, so I headed to Robin's first thing that morning and built a coop before returning to the saloon, which ended just as well as it usually does. All was not lost though, because I had a lovely design idea for the farm. I think I'm gonna alternate fences and hardwood trees and then make a little path going down the center of the farm. It'll be beautiful, just trust me. After a sad day of losing at Prairie King, I headed down to the night market to see what there was to buy, and although the traveling merchant didn't have anything, Sketchy Dude was packing. I got 3 bean starters, 15 cauliflower seeds, 14 jazz seeds, 14 tulip seeds, and 20 kale seeds. For no reason, I'm just a seed hoarder and it's a problem. I did need the full shipment achievement eventually though, so it was good to just pick one of everything up anyway. I also caught myself a midnight squid, a blobfish, and a spookfish. On day 99, I spent the entire day harvesting fiber with no luck and then headed back to the night market. I ended up getting myself 25 tomato seeds, 20 blueberry seeds, 10 hop starters, and then some other seeds for sunflowers, spangles, and poppies. Getting seeds at the night market is really the move. The one thing I really needed though was amaranth because I needed to grow it for the dye bundle, and then once I finished that bundle I'd get a seed maker as a reward. Unfortunately, it hadn't shown up yet and I was getting a little nervous about it. My coop had finished by the next morning, so I ran over with my egg to incubate like a massive fool, just like I do every time I build a coop, and then collected the golden scythe. When I checked in at the night market, the traveling merchant was selling a yam once again, and I wasn't about to let this one go. I snagged that yam and then also bought some seeds for bok choy, yams, cranberry, amaranth, and also 5 grape starters. I honestly think at this point we had pretty much stocked up on every seed we could ever possibly want. Like, for not purchasing anything at Joja or Pierre's, this is a lot of frickin' seeds. So proud. The next morning, I got assigned my secret friend for the Feast of the Winter Star, and I got Elliot. But afterward, something amazing happened. There's some hilarious outtakes from Prairie King that I posted right here if you want to watch them, but after I got a taste of Fector, I just couldn't get enough. Ew, no, that sounds disgusting. I grinded for hours until finally I'd reached him again. Sheriff Star in my back pocket and one of every upgrade, I was ready. I weaved between his bullets, dodging every single one of them until I didn't. That was tragic, but hoping to preserve momentum, I used the Sheriff Star and kept shooting. Only one life left, it was me or him. And just like that, I'd beaten both Junimo Kart and the Prairie King. My arcade system came in the mail the next day, and I plopped it right down next to my Junimo Kart one. I really like this spot with the trees and the path and everything, it looks really nice. I purchased a cheeky little strawberry from the traveling merchant and then headed into the mines to farm fiber. The only things I had left to do were 1. Get the Junimo plush, which I couldn't do because I didn't have the secret message yet, and 2. Get the living hat. I cut out most of the fiber grinding, but I'd been to the mines for hours and hours of my life that I will never get back, and I have to say, at this point it was looking like unlocking the witch's hut would be the only way to get it. But I still had a week left and I wasn't giving up hope. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm just playing to the end of the year. I know that's not 100 days, but it just makes more sense. I said 100 days for like legal reasons, so yeah. On day 104, something beautiful happened. I got a cherry sapling and an orange sapling from the traveling cart. These were really amazing finds. I almost shed a tear. I was so happy. Pierre can actually take a hike. I don't even need him. After spending literally 90% of my time in this 100 days farming fiber, a thought came into my noggin. Wait, fiber seeds. I could just grow fiber seeds. So basically, I wasted all my time. But the premise is, if you accept the community cleanup quest from Linus and successfully complete it, he'll send you the recipe for fiber seeds, and with these, I can literally just grow fiber on my farm. And it was like Yoba was speaking to me this day, because when I headed to the community board, the exact quest that I needed was just sitting there, ripe for the picking. To complete this quest, you need to collect a bunch of garbage and toss it in the recycling bin up by the train station. Generally, I just do it by fishing on my farm because there's always a ton of trash in there for some reason. I was honestly having a tough go at it though. I think I tried every single pond on my farm and I kept getting fish. It was really annoying. Eventually though, I gathered up all my garbage and tossed it in the recycling bin, getting myself the recipe for fiber seeds the next morning. And after getting that recipe, I really went to town. I hoed out the entire plot of land below my house and just filled it with all the fiber seeds that I could craft. Now, all that was left to do was wait. And also decorate the farm. I did a lot of that too. Honestly, the entire end of the day, I just placed fences around and then did some work on the veggie shed, moving everything in there and placing signs and such. It didn't look the greatest, but it also wasn't the worst. I was really looking forward to getting the furniture catalog so that I could decorate the place a bit nicer. Also, just as a bit of a heart-to-heart, I want to say that I can't express just how deeply uncomfortable this cutscene makes me, and I don't understand what purpose it has, and I'm close to formally starting a petition to have it removed because I'm psychologically affected. However, it was the Feast of the Winter Star Day and nothing could rain on my parade, not even naked Linus. Especially because I'd brought some squid ink, which was one of Elliot's favorite gifts. Haley was my gift giver, which, not the biggest fan, and she only gave me a pumpkin pie. Didn't really need it, but now I just have a pumpkin pie. I have some big plans for the future of this farm, and one of them involves getting to the casino. Not gonna tell you why, it just does. So on day 108, I brought one of my batteries to the bus terminal and got absolutely lost, as I always do, before putting it into the lockbox. One of the bigger things I want to do is get a galaxy hammer, which is $75,000. Kind of a waste, but I really like using the different combat styles, so I'd probably be saving up for it in the near future. In terms of my current goals though, after spending the entire day farming fiber, I finally got the secret message for the Junimo plush. Cutting it kinda close honestly, but I was so relieved. I also ended up walking into this cutscene with Penny, and I felt really bad. This one always makes me a bit sad. I decided right here that I wanted to build them a house. I'd seen the option in Robin's before, but I'd never actually done it, and I really wanted to this time around, so that'll definitely be a goal in the future. So here we are, on the last day. It's the beginning of the end, as they say. Wait, no, the end of the beginning is kind of what I'm going for, but that makes no sense. Our fiber still hasn't grown, but it's making some good progress. All there really was left to do was get the Junimo plush, and as the clock struck 12, I love my chonky Junimo. I named him Kevin and sauced him right in between my two arcade machines. I just really felt like that was the perfect spot. As the cherry on top, or the peach on top, if you will, I got myself a peach sapling on the final check of the traveling merchant cart. There was still some time left in the day, and I hadn't given up hope, so after putting the rainbow shell in the box for Mr. Chi, I headed to the mines for the final time. Determined, I reset the floor over and over and over, hoping for some last day magic. I chopped, and I hacked, and I cubed, and I diced. I ran out of synonyms, I'm sorry. Until finally, I decided to head home and cry because I didn't get the hat. At the end of the day though, I beat both Junimo Cart and Prairie King, planted a bunch of fiber, which didn't grow, but it will one day. We had the beginnings of the farmer's market with our humble veggie shed, and also a pretty neat storage system too. I'm really excited to keep working on this farm, and I hope you guys are excited to watch it too. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to leave a like or subscribe to the channel. I'd love to have you here. I've got lots of stuff going on. I'm streaming every Wednesday and Saturday now at 4 PM EST, and I've got a pretty poppin' Discord server with lots of cool people, so if you want to hang out with me or other people that like Stardew, you should definitely come join us. Alright, that's it for today. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!